I cannot stress this enough. You can have an absolutely killer community that is highly profitable and highly valuable to your members by starting with 10 people. The reframing is maybe that first cohort is more like a group coaching experience or more like a mastermind than it is, some people, when they hear the term community, they think, oh my gosh, that has to be 1,000 people. It does not need to be 1,000 people to be a community and to be valuable to the members and the people that you're bringing together. Hey, I'm Gina Bianchini, and this is People Magic, where I show you the absolute easiest way to create a $1 million community.
I'm pitching my community to people, and I'm super excited, but I'm also just aware that my network is only as big as it currently is. If I'm already asking people to sign up and join, then how do I ask them to ask their network without it feeling like a cult or feeling too desperate?
I'm so glad you're asking this question because there's a few nuances in the whole strategy around launching where you start with your people, you are aiming to reach out to their people, and ultimately you have your community's people. So your people, your people's people, and your community's people. And so what I hear you saying is, I've got my people and they're starting to join, and it feels a little weird or awkward for me to be, hey, go get other people as well. So I get that. I want to acknowledge it. There is an opportunity to reframe how you are thinking about bringing together your founding members, because that's sort of phase one, is that you bring together your founding members, roughly, let's call it 10 people. And that can be smaller or that can be larger depending on kind of where you're starting. But let's just keep it simple and say the goal is that you have 10 founding members. And your 10 founding members are the ones that you're launching with and focused on right out of the gates. I cannot stress this enough. You can have an absolutely killer community that is highly profitable and highly valuable to your members by starting with 10 people. The reframing is maybe that first cohort is more like a group coaching experience or more like a mastermind than it is, some people, when they hear the term community, they think, oh my gosh, that has to be 1,000 people. It does not need to be 1,000 people to be a community and to be valuable to the members and the people that you're bringing together. Just think that that's an important thing to stress. So then I think fundamentally you want to go back to who are you bringing together and why are you bringing those people together? Because if you feel like you have to convince somebody to join, I question whether or not they are your ideal members, because by definition, your ideal members are in a transition and that they are highly motivated. So you are looking for the people who are the most motivated to join your community, especially as part of your founding members. And one of the things I found is when we think about, well, who's your ideal member? I even heard this last week. Somebody was like, oh, I want to find regenerative thought leaders. And I was asking myself, what is a regenerative thought leader? And for example, if you're listening to this, you probably are like, I don't know what that means, and neither did I. The first question you've got to ask yourself is, am I too broad or too general in my ideal member, and what can I do? So first of all, with regenerative thought leaders, I want to get into, well, what is regeneration? What does it mean to be regenerative? That's the first definition that we've got to get more specific. And then a really great shorthand, and this is true for really anybody, is beginners, intermediate, advanced. Beginners, intermediate, advanced. And why is this important when you start thinking about even your people and your people's people? You don't need to. It is not a requirement for you to ask every single person who you are bringing into your initial cohort, your initial 10 founding members, to also bring in members right off the bat. You don't have to. I think it's more important, though, that you understand why your community is so valuable to people and why it's so important to those first 10 people or those first 50 people. And when I hear it feels awkward or cult-like, I feel like you might be overthinking the fact that it's not about anybody doing you a favor. Your big purpose is there to help somebody else achieve results and transformation that they can't get on their own. So taking yourself out of it, here would be a couple of ways that you could do that. Oh my gosh, Beth, I'm so glad you are joining us. When I think about how we create the next generation of regenerative thought leaders and bring regenerative architecture or regenerative agriculture to a much broader set of people, you are part of the first 10 people that we are going to go and define what regenerative agriculture, I'm just using that as the example, what regenerative agriculture is going to mean to the next generation. And we're going to go figure this out together. So obviously you are someone who's interested in this as a beginner. I want to bring together another 10 people who are beginners in really how we go and sell the opportunity and be a part of defining the future of regenerative agriculture. Is there anybody else you want to nominate to be a founding member? So do you hear how the pitch is we're going to build something amazing together? It's not about you joining my cult. It's not about me trying to sell you something. This is about that bigger purpose. That this is about why you want to join. And the why you want to join is so that we can create our best year ever. Well, what's our best year ever? Well, if you're curious about regenerative agriculture and what that can mean in the world and the benefits of what happens when more and more people start to think about what that could look like for their farms, for example, that's the power. That's why somebody is joining. And that's the transition from a beginner to somebody who is a leader, from a beginner to somebody who is informing and impacting the future of an industry or the future of a movement or the future of an interest or hobby or passion. That is always a good place to start as you think about building this kind of people magic, relationship-driven business that not only can bring tremendous profitability to you as the leader, but also significant impact. So when you think about when to ask somebody for nominations, when to ask somebody for other people, I want you to come from a place of so that we can. I want to be able to offer more and more people their best year ever because they are my ideal member. They are people who are in a transition. Maybe it's from beginner to intermediate. Maybe it's from intermediate to advanced. Maybe it's from struggling to successful. Figuring out what that is going to give you such a better foundation to invite in your founding members and create what I like to call an ambassador culture, where from day one, it's everybody in the community's job to take notes on, think about who else would be phenomenal to bring into our community, to grow our community of people on the same path, seeking out their best year ever so that they can achieve results in transformation that are absolutely impossible to do as an individual or do in the course of ordinary life. So in the last episode, I talked about asking for help. Who don't I know yet? And that's the whole point of your people, your people's people, and then your community's people. So your people, your people's people, especially if you're starting from zero, into your community's people. And It's not just asking for help from these people to build your thing. This is why it's so powerful to create a people magic-based business, a business that is based on relationships and creating relationships between people, not just content or not just I help you. If you look at the internet today, everybody's like, I help entrepreneurs achieve this, or I help maybe it's just all the stuff that I get. I help busy CEOs achieve the health goals that they have. Well, when you make it about yourself, it's not nearly as interesting as, hey, I bring together people who are like you on the same path. Here are some of the results that my community has achieved in the last 90 days alone. These are amazing people that you could meet too, and you could be a part of. Do you want to join? Do you want to join? When you build an ambassador culture where everybody is thinking about that bigger purpose and what we're building together, it's just there's no comparison relative to like that one-on-one coaching business where it's like, can I help you? It's like, no, I'm good. As opposed to, do you want to join this incredible movement where people are creating magic together? This is why I believe fundamentally that we will see more and more coaching businesses, more and more course businesses, more and more creator businesses where it's about, hey, I need you to support me, or I'm going to just individually help you, morph into and transition into, I am a host of an amazing community of people who are getting incredible results because of the relationships that they are building with each other, and my job is to facilitate those. That in and of itself changes the dynamic of the ask. Who else should be a member of this community? Who else would benefit from this big purpose? Who else wants to have their best year ever? Help me find those people. Or even better, if you know them, here's how you bring them into our world, the world that we are creating, and the world that when you are a part of it, you are able to do things that people in that ordinary world aren't able to do. I'm Gina Bianchini. Thanks for tuning in. This is People Magic. Thank you for being a part of People Magic. If you want more of a deep dive in any of these topics, but certainly having the framework of People Magic Profit, head on over to the website. The link is in the show notes. Have your own burning question about creating people magic? Well, I want to answer it. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to just drop your question in the review section wherever you're listening to this podcast and keep tuning in.